You know how we're always taught to worry about the future, to plan, to save, to always be thinking 10 steps ahead? Well, what if, what if that's actually the very thing that's ruining our happiness right now? That's the wild idea we're going to dive into, and it comes from an essay by a writer named Zeus Fang. I mean, we've all heard this a million times, right? If you don't plan for the long term, you're going to have problems right away. It's practically gospel. Plan ahead, save for that rainy day, you know the drill. It's just the default setting for how we're supposed to live a responsible life. Okay, but here's the twist. What if that ancient wisdom, the thing we've all just accepted as fact, is, well, what if it's completely backward? Or at the very least, what if it's the real reason so many of us are walking around with this constant hum of anxiety? All right, let's get into it. The whole idea here starts by taking that old saying and just flipping it completely upside down. So check this out. On one side, you have the traditional wisdom, but the author's reversal says if a person has long-term worries, they will have immediate vexations. See that? The change feels small, but man, it is huge. It's saying that the act of worrying about way down the road stuff is exactly what's making us miserable today. And let's be clear, the point isn't that having goals is bad. Of course not. The real problem is living in this permanent state of worry, stressing out about a future that, let's be honest, isn't even real yet. We end up trading away actual, real-life happiness today for some imaginary safety net for tomorrow that might never come. So what does this trap of tomorrow actually look like in day-to-day life? Well, it's a vicious cycle, and once you're in it, it can be really tough to escape. See if any of this rings a bell. A baby's born, and right away, we're worrying about their school, then their career, then who they'll marry. You start a new job, and boom, now you gotta worry about saving for a house, a car, retirement. It's like we hit one goal, and our brain just immediately latches on to the next thing to worry about. We get so caught up in what could go wrong tomorrow that we totally miss what's going right now. And this really gets to the heart of the whole idea. Think about it. You can't build a happy house on a shaky foundation, right? Well, you can't build a happy future on a foundation of anxious, miserable todays. The only way to get a good tomorrow is by stringing together a bunch of good todays. The quality of your now literally builds the quality of your then. Okay, I know this might all sound a little abstract, a little in the clouds. So let's bring it down to earth with some powerful and honestly kind of heartbreaking stories about what can happen when we sacrifice everything for a future that's never guaranteed. So our first story is about this guy in Zimbabwe. And listen, he did everything we're told to do. He played by the rules, he was frugal, he sacrificed all the little joys, and he saved every single penny. All for that one goal, a secure future. And with some serious self-discipline, he managed to save up 10,000 Zimbabwean dollars. Now, at the time, that was a pretty big deal. It was worth about 1,500 US dollars. That was his nest egg, his life savings, the payoff for all that hard work and sacrifice. And then hyperinflation hit. Something totally, completely out of his control. And today, that entire life savings, all those years of saying no to things, all that worry, it's worth about 20 cents. Just gone. The future he planned for just evaporated. The next story is just as tough to hear. It's about two project managers, also in Zimbabwe. They were saving up like crazy, dreaming of buying homes for their families, paying for their kids' education. They denied themselves everything. And just 1 week, one single week, before they were supposed to fly home, with that future they'd worked so hard for right in their grasp, they both died in a car crash. Wow. I mean, those stories are incredibly tragic, and they really force you to ask, if that's not the way, then what is? What's the alternative? And that brings us to the author's answer, which he calls the philosophy of now. This right here is the author's personal mantra, and it is a huge shift from how most of us operate. It's a deliberate decision to put today's happiness first. The idea is simple. If you have a reason to be happy today. The consequences? You'll figure those out when they actually show up. Now hold on. This isn't about being totally reckless, right? It's not a green light to max out your credit cards and forget about everything. It's way more subtle than that. It's about changing your mindset. It's about refusing to let the fear of some made-up, worst-case scenario future stop you from actually living your life today.
And here's a really key distinction the author makes coming from his Life Chanyun perspective. He separates anxious worry from what he calls a beautiful longing. See, anxious worry comes from a place of fear and scarcity. It just drains the life out of you. But a beautiful longing, that comes from a place of hope. It's about picturing a wonderful future. And that vision actually gives you energy today instead of sucking it away.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. We've flipped that old proverb, we've seen the trap of living for tomorrow, and we've talked about a whole new way of thinking. So what's the bottom line? It really boils down to a simple three-step logic. Step one, realize that an anxious today leads to an anxious tomorrow. It's a cycle. Step two, flip that. A happy today is what builds a happy tomorrow. And so step three, make the choice. Choose to actually find and create joy in the here and now. And that's really the whole thing in a nutshell. The absolute best way to prepare for a good future isn't to worry yourself sick about it. It's to focus all your energy on living a good, rich, and happy life today. So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about your own life for a second. Think about all those long-term worries you carry around. What is just one of them, just one, that you could decide to let go of, just for today, to make a little more space for happiness right now?